Mom, what do you think happened to the girl who was driving?
I heard that she had a brain injury.
Brain injury? What is that?
Wait, let me search. Traumatic brain injury has been called the silent epidemic of modern times. It is the leading cause of mortality and morbidity in children and young adults in both developing and developed nations worldwide.
Mom, I didn't understand anything.
Don't worry, darling. Let's ask your uncle to explain to us.
A brain injury is a damage to the brain that occurs after birth by insults, such as falls, vehicle accidents, violence, or sport injuries.
Brain injuries. Brain injuries affect the motor system in more than one way.
What is the motor system?
Okay, I will give you a brief introduction about the motor system. The motor system consists of four main cerebral areas: the primary motor cortex, the premotor cortex, the basal ganglia, cerebellum, and the spinal cord. Each of them contribute to our body's motor function. Let's imagine the brain as a manager or boss who controls his employees. The brain is the organ in our bodies that is responsible of sending motor commands to the whole body to move.
But how does the brain send those commands to our muscles? It is far away from them.
That's a smart question.
First, it starts from the motor cortex where it plans the movements. Then it goes to the basal ganglia where it removes excessive movements that we don't need. After that, it reaches the cerebellum, which does not initiate movements but coordinates them. Spinal cord is the highway for communication between the body and the brain. When the spinal cord is injured, the exchange of information between the brain and other parts of the body is disrupted. Now, let me give you an example of what could happen if someone had a car accident. Brain injury can be an open head injury or a closed head injury. Open head injuries happen when an object breaks the skull and enters the brain. With an open head injury, we can observe the symptoms, like in the case of a gunshot. Closed head injuries happen when an external force or object damages the brain without breaking the skull. With the closed head injury, it is difficult to observe the symptoms. Concussion is an example of a closed head injury. Brain injuries may affect the structure of the brain, like in the case of a skull fracture or when an object does penetrate the brain. Moreover, brain damage that results from brain injuries affect the way the nervous system functions by affecting the way the brain functions, the brain's ability to communicate with the rest of the body, and the ability of the muscles to respond to the brain's orders. The motor system has a significant relationship with communication. The motor system is responsible of controlling and initiating the movements of different speech muscles. Therefore, any damage to the motor areas in the brain could result in different speech problems. I'll give you some examples of disorders that affect the motor system and can result from brain injuries. Apraxia is a disorder that is characterized by an inability to perform particular voluntary actions, despite the normal muscle strength and tone. Apraxia can affect oral movements and non-speech movements. Dysarthria is a motor speech disorder that is characterized by poor respiration, phonation, and articulation as a result of having abnormally weak speech muscles. Swallowing disorders or dysphagia can also result from brain injuries. Motor symptoms that result from brain injuries are paralysis, muscle weakness, hypertonia, muscle rigidity, tremor, loss or lack of coordination, and loss of balance. Motor disorders mainly affect motor speech functions such as fluency, articulation, and voice. Speech fluency may appear as slow or effortful speech production. Articulation-related symptoms of speech disorders are unintelligible speech, speech that is full of misarticulation, and paraphagia, which is the substitution of speech sounds or words. Voice-related symptoms of speech disorders are having a monopitch, monoloudness, hoarse and breathy voice, or a complete loss of voice. Unfortunately, there is no cure for motor disorders that result from brain injuries. Instead, medications, surgeries, and therapy rehabilitations are provided. Car accidents are one of the most common causes of brain injury.
So, darling, do you think we should be more attentive towards this problem?
Yes, Mom. We must give importance to safety driving precautions, such as avoid using your phone while driving, have a driving license, have a safe speed limit, always fasten your seat belt, pay attention to your surroundings at all times.